This is the Heel to the Face podcast, joined over here with Brandon. The other night, Jerry Lawler had a career versus title match and became the Arkansas heavyweight champion at the age of 70 years old. Who has their last match later in life? 73-year-old Terry Funk, or does Jerry Lawler go beyond that?
Terry Funk's always going to have the record. He never really retires.
Heel to the Face podcast starts now.
Your cell phones, hold your applause, and tune into the truth.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
Getting beat up by 9 guys in Syracuse, to me, there's not a whole lot of shame in.
From the 315 to the world, this is the Heel to Face podcast.
The cream of the crop! Wow, man, freaked out!
Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Heel to the Face.
I said, are you ready?
From Armory Square in downtown Syracuse, New York, let's send it now to Brandon and Jared.
Bad luck seems to be my middle name. They might as well tag me up with my buddies from Syracuse.
So this is the Heel to the Face podcast, the final episode before we head into the Royal Rumble this weekend. A very busy weekend with the Royal Rumble, NXT, even NWA is going to be on pay-per-view on Friday night. We'll try to recap all of that and more. As always, my name is K-Rock Jared. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at K-Rock Jared. You can find the guy to my right, if you're watching on YouTube, to my left at Icebreaker21, Brandon Clements. Make sure to follow the program on Twitter at Heel to the Face. So we're going to start pretty much right in with the pay-per-views this week. Not a lot of Raw or SmackDown talk, even though the Raw ratings did go up. But I think they went down at the end because what a horrible main event. If we could just talk about that for a second.
Do we really have to talk about it?
We didn't.
It was that bad.
Ladder match. Rey Mysterio, Andrade. Nope, that wasn't the main event.
Nope.
What about Drew McIntyre? He was in action. Was that the main event?
Nope, it wasn't.
Nope. Well, that couldn't have been the mixed tag with a storyline that we're just completely sick of by now. Could have been.
Unfortunately, the answer is yes.
Yes. But the ratings went up, so unfortunately, maybe Vince is going to make us deal with more of this in the future. But we got the Royal Rumble on the way, so let's just forget about that for now. But this Friday night, we want to start things off, actually, the appetizer to the appetizer. NWA, their second pay-per-view. It's Friday night, NWA Hard Times from the television studio. Nick Aldis in your main event. He will not be defending the championship against Flip Gordon. But either way, that seems like it's going to be a pretty interesting match nonetheless. And Scott Steiner, I mean, he's been making his appearances on NWA. We were just talking in the intro about, who's going to wrestle later. Scott Steiner's not near 70 years old, but I mean, I feel like he's worn out as well.
Is he going to retire? I mean, at any time? I mean, shoot. I mean, the Rock and Roll Express. I mean, those guys have been rocking and rolling for a long time.
The Rock and Roll Express might go longer than Jerry Lawler. The one thing I think, if we could go back to the intro just for a second with Jerry Lawler, and everyone always talks about the longevity of Ric Flair, forgetting that Jerry Lawler is his age and looks a hell of a lot better.
Well, minus a few heart attacks here and there. I mean, Ric Flair's been on death's door a few
they've all
times.
had some.
Yeah, they've all had some issues. I mean, to me, when you told me the King was still wrestling, I was kind of surprised too, because after the heart attacks on the commentary desk, I'm like, is he really? He's not really doing that anymore. So that was a surprise to me. That Terry Funk
you
again.
saw the movie The Wrestler. I mean, the whole movie ends with the guy either going to die or he's going to wrestle one last time. And wrestlers, I mean, obviously Ric Flair is a good example. There's no sport where they do not give it up.
Here's the thing,
like wrestling.
Ric Flair, and to be honest, can't be killed. I mean, he's already faced death enough times. I think he'll be okay. But Terry Funk, once again, I think the guy will wrestle until he's like 90. He'll be rolling out in a wheelchair and still have a match.
But speaking of the Rock and Roll Express, they're defending their tag team belts against James Storr and Eli Drake. I think that's kind of an interesting team. I mean, obviously we knew the Beer Money Incorporated back in Impact Wrestling, but James Storr teaming up with Eli Drake, who I don't want to say he's an up-and-comer because he's like 30 years old. But he's definitely somebody who, he made a name for himself in Impact, or at least got his name out there. I think he's somebody worth watching. He's definitely what I would call a brand name nowadays in the world of wrestling. He's somebody whom I can mention, and if you're the middle of the pack wrestling fan, you know who he is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been around the block a little bit. I mean, he's made a name for himself, on the indie circuit for a while. So he's a known commodity. Now I'm looking through the card. I just noticed Ken Anderson's on the card. There's
a television title tournament. Nothing, because they got to be old school in this. That's how they got to do it. So they got to have a television title, and they got to have a television title tournament, and that's what this pay-per-view is mostly all about. Is this television title tournament? Ken Anderson versus Tim Storm. And again, we talk about people we know, people who don't. I'm not familiar with Tim Storm, Ricky Starks, Dan Miff, Trevor Murdoch, obviously, Zicky. And the question mark just makes me think I'm not familiar with the question mark in this incarnation.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with the idea of the question mark in the sense of old school wrestling, of putting a mask on somebody to be a jobber. I mean, WrestleMania 1 kicked off with, the Executioner, whom apparently was, a future Doink. Was Sam born? No, not. Yeah, born.
I think it was.
Yes. So a future Doink the Clown in the future under, the costume taking on Special Delivery Jones. But the point of the matter is, I feel that's what NWA is doing with the question mark.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. And also to note, Marty Scurll will be there as well. To check
I mean, I think
cool.
it's pretty obvious that Marty Scurll is going to try to do some sort of challenging for Nick Aldis before that match is over. I think that's why probably this title's not on the line against Flip Gordon. I feel Marty Scurll is going to try to entice or kind of get maybe involved in the main event.
I'm sure in some way, shape, or form he's gonna.
I would like to see NWA involved some way, somehow at WrestleMania weekend.
I'd be okay with that.
I mean, because so far, Ring of Honor is going to be involved with their Supercard of Honor, but so far, AEW, they look like they're too big. They got a show that Wednesday. I think that show that Wednesday is in Newark, New Jersey. 1 week after they're in Rochester, New York, when they make their New York State debut. Now, Newark, New Jersey is where they are the following week. A lot of people are saying you're making your New York debut in upstate New York. Why not New York City? But Newark, New Jersey is essentially New York City. So
yeah, pretty much. I mean, look where the New York Giants and New York Jets play. It's in New Jersey. So here's the thing. I think Heel of the Face will be making their debut in AEW. We're gonna
we talked about this going way back to the beginning. AEW. We knew that Syracuse, Rochester, these were places that we were just waiting for them to show up.
I'm glad it's close to our backyard, so I'm looking forward to the show.
So, NWA Hard Times looks like a decent pay-per-view. Now, that's the only quote-unquote pay-per-view of the weekend because the other two matches or the other two shows are on the WWE Network. And Saturday night, kind of interesting. We're talking When Worlds Collide. It's NXT's version of the Survivor Series, I guess you could say. NXT versus NXT UK. The main event is the Imperium team versus the Undisputed Era. Is that the match you're looking forward to the most? Because me personally, I'm looking forward to DIY versus Mustache Mountain.
It's a toss-up for me. I like both of them. I think both matches are going to be fantastic, but I'm with you on that. I think DIY and Mustache Mountain, I think that has the match of the night potential. It's good to see DIY back together, so I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's I would say Undisputed Era and Imperium is definitely kind of the 1B to the DIY Mustache Mountain 1A.
So the NXT Women's Championship is going to be on the line when Rhea Ripley takes on Toni Storm. I'm looking forward to that match probably the most because this is not really a card that's full of a lot of championships. This isn't your typical takeover. I feel the takeover in Portland in a few weeks is actually going to be better when you got Finn Balor versus Gargano one-on-one. I kind of wish I was getting that when I go to the Toyota Center on Saturday.
Dragunov's not a bad wrestler though. He's been doing pretty well on the NXT UK side.
And obviously Finn Balor can lift him up as well. It's kind of weird where we come from because last year Finn Balor was taking on Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. This year he's on the NXT card, kind of by choice. It's kind of interesting where we see going from one year to another. Mia Yim, she is the NXT UK Women's Champion. She's on the kickoff show against Kaylee Ray.
Kaylee Ray is the NXT UK Champion.
And correct. You're correct.
Yes.
Brandon knows his NXT more.
Yes. Mia Yim will be facing her in a kickoff show match. Kaylee Ray actually won the title, I believe, from it was from Toni Storm, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was at one of the NXT UK pay-per-views, a few months back. Speaking of Toni Storm, I'm going to enjoy that match too. I think Ripley and Storm. I think that's going to be a good match. Where do you think Toni Storm got the UK title from? Rhea Ripley, so that'll be a good rematch. Yeah,
it's kind of weird that it's the NXT versus NXT UK when those two guys those two females are both NXT UK.
Yeah, and it's a great. Here's the thing though, they're
essentially Rhea Ripley now in the regular NXT, which makes me feel like NXT UK is NXT's NXT.
Yeah, to me, how it looks to me is NXT, the main NXT is AAA, and I think NXT UK is kind of like a double A if you think about it, like in a minor league baseball system. And here's the thing, there's a lot of great talent there. Imperium is fantastic. Volta is fantastic. I enjoy that crew, and obviously Undisputed Era. That goes without saying. I think it's gonna be a decent card overall. I think there'll be some good matches. I'm really looking forward to it.
Who are you looking forward to? Or let me ask this. Without giving a match by match, who is coming out on top here? NXT UK or NXT?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say NXT. I wouldn't say UK. I would say NXT because of this. I mean, I see Undisputed Era winning somehow. I mean, they're just going to keep building Undisputed Era. Imperium has shown that they can be beat and not, they're still going to be over. I mean, Undisputed Era can do the same thing, but Undisputed Era, I think, is going to win. I see Ripley. She's on a she's getting pushed real heavy. I see her beating Toni Storm in that match. So that's to NXT. Finn Balor's not losing to Dragunov. I don't see that. So overall, I don't see it. I mean, DIY Mustache Mountain is the one match where it could go either way, to be honest with you. But I don't think. I mean, we've seen Creative do some interesting things. I don't think DIY will lose this match, but you never know with Creative, especially.
Yeah, I mean, plus they're back. I mean, this could be, you got to look at when tag teams kind of reunite. It kind of reminds me of the Shawn Michaels and Triple H. It kind of reminds me of Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels. It's like they reunite them just to have them break up and set up a feud between the two of them later on. So are they going to reunite just to have someone turn on the other one and set up a match one-on-one, let's say, at NXT TakeOver Tampa?
I mean, it's a strong possibility, but I don't want to see that. I like them. I kind of like them. Like, yes, they can have these every so often. They get back together with DIY, but they're still doing their singles thing. I like it that way, so they can come together as needed, but they can still have single success. So I don't want to see any more rivalry for that. I mean, it's it's been a little bit since we've had that rivalry, but I kind of want to see it kind of go away for a while.
All right. With that being said, we move on to we got to turn the hat around to the front. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm wearing this ugly, ridiculous hat, but either way, it is from last year's Royal Rumble. We're talking about this year's Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble 2020 from Minute Maid Park, home of the Houston Asterix in Major League Baseball, as that's what they're calling nowadays. I wonder if when I get there, they're going to start taking down the banners. We'll turn the hat back in a normal way now. And either way, Houston's kind of an interesting sports city, obviously, with everything going on with the Houston Astros, the Texans out of the playoffs. So, well, the Royal Rumble for Houston couldn't come quick enough. So it's going to be this Sunday from Minute Maid Park. I wonder if this will be the last one in a baseball stadium or we're going to move for a third year in a row. But either way, this year it's at a baseball stadium. They'll be coming out of the dugouts because why use that huge scoreboard in center field as a grand entrance? You have the scoreboard, play the videos on that. You don't even have to bring any video equipment. You just bring a ramp away and they just come on down. And then when they get out of the ring, they can go out through the dugout.
Well, Jared, I mean, you're pretty smart. I mean, honestly, they don't think of these things. It's so easy. A caveman can do it, really.
Yeah, and I guess what's probably ridiculous about that is if you've been to a baseball stadium, you understand how they're shaped. So the fact that they're coming out of the dugout, I don't know if you've ever been to a baseball stadium, but most people are not looking into the dugout where their seats are located. They're looking into center field.
Yeah,
they're all,
sure.
The diamond is facing outfield. So the seats are kind of wonky when they're at a baseball stadium and they come out essentially from home plate. So they're coming out with everyone essentially behind them. And what they're looking at is no one in front of them.
Yeah, I mean it's
kind of weird.
It's an odd setup. It really is. And I mean it's back-to-back years. So I mean it's
back-to-back years.
Part two for you.
They've got a scoreboard in center field. They could easily just come out through there. I mean they have it closed off anyways because I don't know why they didn't sell those seats, but where the scoreboard is, they've got it all blacked off anyways because that's when they leave the Royal Rumble. They're taken back that way. So obviously you just do it in reverse. But so we move on to the Royal Rumble. What I'm hoping is a kickoff show matchup. Sheamus taking on Chad Gables. I refuse to call him Shorty G.
He's billed as Shorty G. You gotta go with it, Shorty G. I know as much as you hate it.
What do you mean I have to? This is our show.
No, I'm calling the shots on that part.
We got to call him Shorty G.
Shorty G, man. I mean, hey, that's the new thing. As much as I don't like it, you know me, I'm a big
But he goes by the books. I mean, WWE hasn't sanctioned this podcast. We can say and do whatever we want, but according to Brandon, we have rules here.
I'm changing the rule on it just for this one because I have a lot of respect for Shorty G. I
have so much respect for him that I call him Chad Gable. That's the kind of respect I have for him.
I'm just sticking with what he's billed as, and Sheamus. Here's the thing. This match is really going to be a kickoff show match because there's no way in hell they're bringing Sheamus back after this long layoff.
I mean, but that could be the reason why it's not a kickoff show is because it is Sheamus kind of coming back and they want to give him a big deal.
Yeah, but why would you waste it? Why would you waste it on the main card when you know it's going to be a squash?
Yeah, and there's still rumors that Shinsuke Nakamura defending the Intercontinental Championship or Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Braun Strowman for the Intercontinental Championship could still be on the card. That's rumors that haven't been fulfilled yet, just a few days before the Royal Rumble. I'd rather see that on the main show than this one. Something's got to be on the kickoff show. And I think Sheamus for Shorty G should be. I think Sheamus is going to win probably pretty quickly because it is a Sheamus return.
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're obviously putting a lot of fuel on the fire there. They're going to keep pushing him up, significantly. There's no reason for him to lose. I mean, why would you have this huge comeback with all the vignettes and everything to have him lose to Shorty G? It's just how it goes.
Yeah, so Sheamus is back. I mean, we all thought he was retired for the most part.
I mean, shoot, we have Sheamus, we have Big Show, who were like, I mean, Big Show.
Yeah.
We thought he was
Matt
gone.
Hardy popping up here and there and everywhere.
It's the thing with wrestling is you never really truly retire unless you're Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and well, I mean, who's even say? I mean, we saw him overseas in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, it's gotten close where we all thought he was jumping in, but
And Kane is currently the mayor of a town, and I believe he told a lot of the people who don't care about wrestling in that town, who were probably pretty skeptical about him becoming the mayor, like, is that wrestling thing in the past? And he's like, no, I'm the mayor now. I'm real. I'm Glenn Jacobs. None of this foolish stuff anymore. You can count on me. And then he gets in the ring like 2 weeks later.
well, yeah, obviously he's going to be in the Royal Rumble match. I think that's kind of an obvious thing at this point.
Obviously, after he came out on the shows this past week on SmackDown and stuff, where he came out and said, yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all these records, so I mean, he's been a face of the Royal Rumble match for many years. So I mean, it makes sense.
Not in the last couple of years, though. Obviously,
Yeah, but here's the thing: he still has the most eliminations in the history of like not a single one, because I know Roman Reigns broke that, but overall he's had the most eliminations in Royal Rumble history, and he's also been in, I believe, the most Royal Rumbles too, if I'm not mistaken.
which kind of shows you the world of scripted wrestling, because the people who have the statistics are not necessarily the best people. I remember, I love watching Jerry Lawler every single year when some big guy comes in and he's always like, that's my favorite, I'm picking him. And like the big guys never seem to get over. The closest they came was when Big Show and Rock tied Royal Rumble 2000.
Yeah.
But they never let big guys go over, other than like Undertaker one time, but I don't really consider him just a big guy. Colley's never won the Rumble. Big Show's never solely won the Royal Rumble. Kane's never won the Rumble.
Mark Henry, no, I don't think he has either.
No, Mark Henry's never won the
I don't
Royal
think
Rumble.
he has either. So.
You just got to go by, has Mark Henry ever main evented a WrestleMania? He has not.
No, he
So
hasn't.
has not won the Royal Rumble.
No.
That's easy math to do right there.
Yes.
United States Championship, after being on the line on Monday night in a very good ladder match with Rey Mysterio, is going to be on the line again because of somebody who intervened after the match was over. Not Zelina Vega, because I would have probably recognized her more, but Humberto is back in WWE. When he took his mask off, I was waiting for the announcer to be like, who's that again?
Oh, come on, give the guy a little credit. The guy's a great wrestler.
He's a good wrestler, but he
fantastic.
came on the scene so quickly, and then before like he was already, I'm like, but I missed one Monday Night Raw, and I turn on and he's like the talk of the town, and then he's gone again.
Well, here's the thing: he kind of was getting that Cedric Alexander treatment, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean he was like I said, you miss one Raw and you turn on, and next week he's main eventing, and they're kicking off the show, and you're like, who? What did I miss?
That's why you got to watch every week. That's why you got to tune in, man.
So he is taking on Andrade. Do you see him winning the United States belt? I do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 110% on this. I'm a Carrillo fan. I'm on board.
I'm not really a fan, but I think I see him winning the US belt.
I'm a huge fan. I'm a big fan of him. I think his in-ring work is fantastic. He's got the look of a star. The kid's got a lot of potential. This would be a great thing for him. And here's the nice part. It's gonna bump him up, give him a little push. And even if Andrade loses, it's not a bad thing for him, because Andrade's got bigger things in his future anyways.
So we move on. Falls Count Anywhere, Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. And I am taking King Corbin. And the reason I'm taking King Corbin is because I feel WWE sets this up a lot, probably going back as far as WrestleMania 10. Remember who left the show with, on Lex Luger's shoulders? Bret the Hitman Hart. Who kicked off the show losing to Owen Hart in a match? Bret the Hitman Hart. So Roman Reigns, I feel in this match, is going to fall short. Not necessarily making it my pick to win the Royal Rumble later in the night, but I'm going to say he's going to fall short in this match against King Corbin.
Well, here's the thing. King Corbin, like him or hate him, which you know me, I'm not a fan of the King Corbin thing. I'm just over it. He's on fire. They're pushing him. He's, this whole gimmick's on, this whole gimmick's rolling, and management loves it. So in this case, I'm gonna go Corbin as well. I think the big dog. It's not gonna hurt him as much as it would Corbin at this point.
Yeah, because either way, Roman Reigns is going to be in the Royal Rumble later in the night.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's going to have a good showing. I'm pretty much.
Oh yeah, he'll be a favorite.
If he's not one of the final four and/or the winner, I would be very surprised.
Agreed.
Bayley taking on Lacey Evans for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This one, I'm saying the belt stays with Bayley. I don't think Lacey Evans is essentially ready as we're going into WrestleMania season to be a face, a current champion holder going into WrestleMania. I see her maybe winning the Women's Royal Rumble or whatever. Not the Royal Rumble, Women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. But I don't see her going into WrestleMania, a title holder or probably even contending for a title.
I disagree. I think Lacey Evans is on fire right now. I think the crowd's behind her. She's got a lot of fanfare, and I think WWE needs to pull the trigger on this, and I think they will. I think
so. If they pull the trigger, so you're cool with Lacey Evans heading into WrestleMania as a current champion.
I'm okay with it,
and you think that's a possibility?
I think it's a possibility. I really do. And because here's the thing, and we'll get to it in a little bit. The Women's Royal Rumble match, that's going to be interesting. I got a pick, not a surprising pick, but that it'll shake things up. I'm for sure.
Becky Lynch versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, a match that almost didn't happen. Are you familiar with Asuka's issues from just yesterday? We're taping this on a Wednesday night. So yesterday, there was a shooting at the Fashion Outlet Mall in Las Vegas, and Asuka says she heard gunshots, and if it wasn't for her being able to run into a guest store at the last minute, she's not sure what might have happened.
That's kind of scary to hear too, because I've never been in a situation like that.
Hopefully she said she was pretty close. Like she didn't run out the store. She said she was pretty close, and she says, it's closer than a lot of people say. There might have been 1,000 people at a stadium, and a gunshot went off, and people say, well, I was there, but essentially, how close were you? She says, according to Asuka's account, she was pretty close, meaning the shooting was essentially, like she said, if she didn't get able to get into that store,
we don't know what would happen.
Yeah, she doesn't know if she had to go 2 or 3 more stores down the line. She doesn't know exactly what would have happened.
Which that would have been sad.
And that's crazy. I mean, you never know where people are going to be. Obviously, with the Royal Rumble being in Texas, who knows? Asuka's hanging out in Las Vegas, in the middle of the week. But either way, she's taking on Becky Lynch, who, she's had a great year. Obviously, main evented WrestleMania last year. Where do you see Becky Lynch going into WrestleMania this year?
I
or at
see
least in this match.
In this case, I'm going to go Becky Lynch as the champion. I mean, she at this point she has to beat Asuka, and I think the will for her to finally beat Asuka and conquer Asuka is going to put her over at this case. And I think Becky Lynch, she's going to hold on to it.
Yeah, I see Becky Lynch leaving here as well with the belt. I feel that we're going to go strong into Becky Lynch going into WrestleMania.
Agreed.
So now we move on to the Universal Championship. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, the current champion, taking on Daniel Bryan in a strap match. Daniel Bryan, I would probably say I'm always been a Fiend fan, but I'm getting kind of a little sick. So Daniel Bryan, he has made it very public recently that he is going full on character in real life. He has talked to Vince McMahon about not making new shirts for him now that he's kind of a face, because he wants to wait until they can make them from more organic materials. He says he hates promoting shirts that are made from inorganic materials. He wants to make them from water bottles. I'm fine with somebody being, all about recycling, but he's a little too much of that. The fact that he says he goes back in time and regrets the fact that so many shirts were sold. I mean, this isn't Schindler's List over here where he's thinking about his ring could have saved 1 or 2 more Jews during the Holocaust. He's saying, I wish I could go back and sell 1 or less T-shirts because they were made of inorganic materials. I mean, that's great for a character perspective, Daniel Bryan, but real Daniel Bryan, slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, plus, let's make some money here. Come on.
Yes, and Daniel Bryan, Daniel Bryan taking on, not Finn Balor. I was about to say Finn Balor, but the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. I see Bray Wyatt leaving here with the belt. I see him not losing the belt.
Yeah, I agree. There's no reason for, again, you can't put the brakes on this whole Bray Wyatt thing, the whole Fiend. I don't see it happening. I think Daniel Bryan can lose this, and it's not going to hurt his credibility. If Daniel conquers the Fiend, at this point, it's going to ruin the credibility. And why would WWE do that before WrestleMania?
I mean, it is a strap match, so I guess that does leave it open to not being the cleanest of finishes, kind of thing.
Yeah, but then you know what? If it's not a clean finish, to me, that's just a cop out. So I mean, to me, I want to see the Fiend just win outright.
So the Women's Royal Rumble will start there. Let's look at some of the people that are confirmed. We got Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan. Those are really the only people that are confirmed to be in it.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot more from NXT that are going to be in it. I think Bianca Belair is probably going to be in it. Who do you see leaving as the Women's Royal Rumble winner?
It's a very easy pick for me. I think it's going to be Shayna Baszler. I think she's on a roll. I mean, I know she dropped the belt obviously recently. But I think that just means that they're going to push her on the main roster soon.
So I got a pick, but I have a second backup pick, but this is my pick.
Whoa. Hey, wait.
Oh, you
come
got
on.
a backup. All right, I'll give you a backup. What is your, if she doesn't win, what do you see? Because I mean,
the obvious choice is Charlotte Flair. I mean, they always push Charlotte Flair. So
my number one pick, the reason I guess I want a backup pick, I want something a little more safe, because my main pick, who I think is leaving, is a little more out there.
All right, who
Ronda
is
Rousey. I think she's going to win the Royal Rumble and maybe set that up for a Becky Lynch rematch at WrestleMania. Okay. But my more safe pick is going to be Ember Moon.
I'm okay with that. She's ready to come back. I mean, she's been out for a while. That's not a terrible pick. I think you're wrong, but I don't think it's a terrible pick.
So we move on to the men's Royal Rumble. A lot more confirmed to be in that: Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, King Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Elias, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Drew McIntyre, Otis, Tucker, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe.
So who's not
are just those confirmed? I think who could be in it. Now they're having a watch party in the back, and a bunch of people that are going to be in the watch party are Rhea Ripley, which is kind of strange because there's a bunch of people that I thought, like Trent Seven and Rhea Ripley, are going to be part of this watch party. I don't know exactly how close they're going to be doing it to the arena. Maybe if they could leave the watch party and join the Royal Rumble. Because one person back there I want to see in the Royal Rumble, Todd Pettengill. He's going to be back there watching. I would love to see Todd Pettengill.
I'm just going to leave this open too. You open that door with the NXT deal. NXT UK is obviously in play then, so we might have some NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, we could see
Pete Dunne.
And Pete Dunne. I would love Pete Dunne. Tyler Bates, another name that I wouldn't mind seeing. I mean, I'm going to leave it out here like this. I'm hoping Hurricane Helms wins. I'm really excited for Hurricane Helms to be on the.
This isn't the video game version of it. Like we're back in the day when you used to play like N64 and you'd play the Royal Rumble and you'd pick like somebody who would never win it in real life. Oh. And you would play season mode with Road Dogg and main event WrestleMania with Badass Billy Gunn.
Man, I'm so disappointed. Man, why
not how real WWE?
Darn, I was hoping Hurricane Helms was going to be in it. I mean, realistically, I'm gonna take Drew McIntyre. That's my choice. I think Drew McIntyre is on fire right now. I mean, the crowd's is buying into the whole, and we were talking about it last week or the week before. The Claymore kick, he's got this 3-2-1 with the crowd interacting with his new move. The fan, or not new move, but part of a new character piece. And I think he's on a good roll, and I think he's the guy that I think is going to eliminate Brock Lesnar. I believe that. Now I'm going to counter this to you. Who do you see as a surprise? Is there any names you're like
surprise? Yeah. I mean, you have obviously Edge, CM Punk. Those are the big names that everyone's talking about. Is Cain Velasquez really a surprise?
Yes and no, I guess. I mean, he's been out for a while, so he's kind of disappeared.
I mean, I feel he pretty much is confirmed that he's going to be there in certain radio shows and podcasts, stuff like that. And I think he's going to be the one that eliminates Brock Lesnar. I mean, I really hope he doesn't win, but I think that's who's going to be the one who eliminates Brock Lesnar. Is Cain Velasquez, setting up for the real life WrestleMania, Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar rematch. Or maybe setting up for Saudi Arabia. Forget, you still got a lot of big-time matches they got to somehow put on that show at the end of February. But I think Cain Velasquez is going to be the one that eliminates Brock Lesnar. I think Drew McIntyre, I would like to see him win. I want to see him win. I feel probably pretty close. I hope doesn't win. Roman Reigns. I feel like if Roman Reigns does win, though, it's going to be the most popular of his Royal Rumble wins. Well,
he's. I mean, the fans are behind him right now.
Because everyone was backlashing him every other time he won.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. I'm gonna give you two surprise names. Velveteen Dream, not winning but showing up at the Rumble. He's been out with he's had some
showed up at the Rumble
lumbar issues or whatnot, so he's been having some issues there. So he's supposed to be here. He's supposed to be back, cleared in the next month or two. It's right around that time. Another name that I've been reading on the interweb, so to speak, is Killer Cross, really famed indie wrestler. He had a nice meeting with Triple H recently, and from reports out there, I think Dave Meltzer may have reported it, that they're willing to he's just going to bypass NXT and come right up to the main roster. And he also opened up, he's locked down his WrestleMania schedule. He's not taking any bookings, so that tells me that he's coming to WWE. So Killer Cross.
The Royal Rumble. See, the Royal Rumble to me is, WWE likes to be stupid sometimes. Michael Cole says it's the all-star game of wrestling, which doesn't make any sense because the all-star game has no importance.
The all-star game of wrestling
has tons of importance.
It's Survivor Series. We already know that.
Yeah, I would say, yes, Survivor Series is the all-star game of wrestling. The Royal Rumble is the NCAA tournament. WrestleMania is essentially the Final Four, right? And the reason why it's the NCAA tournament is because you have all these people, and the idea is anyone can win it. 64 names. Who could win it? Look at this school we've never heard of could win it. This school we've never heard of could win the championship. And yes, some of them make some noise. You have Maven eliminating The Undertaker. You got Liberty knocking out Duke in the first round. That's what that is. But in the end, when you get to the Final Four, surprise, surprise, even though you had, badass Billy Gunn kick off the Rumble or Drew Carey in the Rumble, and they might have made some noise making an elimination, making it to that Sweet 16 of the Rumble, the Final Four is pretty much always what you expect it's going to be. And the main event of WrestleMania is essentially the WWE's version of Duke and North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas.
Yes, the Blue Bloods.
Yes. So it's pretty much like March Madness because you have all these names that are going to shake things up a little bit. But in the end, when we get down to the Final Four of who's in the Royal Rumble, I mean, that's who it is. Drew Carey is no longer involved.
Hey, just give me a Wichita State from a few years ago. I want a name like that. I'm good with that.
Which is a Ricochet, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Ricochet to the Wichita State if he's in the Final Four of the Royal Rumble.
The Shockers, the Shockers, man.
The Shocker. I mean, the Shockers. What are we doing with your hands there?
Yeah, don't disregard.
Disregard that. Okay,
you'll
Shocker. That's.
You'll check.
We're not talking basketball anymore.
Yeah,
there. So that's going to do it for this week's edition of the show, the Royal Rumble. This week, we'll talk all about it next week. For Bryan the Icebreaker, Clement, you can find him on Twitter there. For myself at KRock Jared, maybe I'll get a chance to post a video while I'm down in Houston, Texas, cowboy hat and all, for When Worlds Collide and the Royal Rumble. But either way, we'll break it all down next week and everything else in the world of wrestling. Till then, bye, y'all.
Cool.